Good evening, YouTube. My name is Dan, and I'm the coach of your St. Louis Rampardos. Now, the St. Louis Rampardos have head smashed their way to a nice 12-1 start with only 2 weeks left in the regular season with a playoff march surely in our sights. It looks like we are pretty much locked in for playoffs. We have nothing to worry about, but that does not mean we are not taking our last 2 matches seriously. As always, I would love to go 14-1 in our first ever UCL season. Now, after a nice win last week, we turn our sights to the Feraligatrs and PKSparkxx Dat Hotness with his nice team. He is 6-7, 6 wins, 7 losses, but does have a pretty threatening team featuring a lot of big threats like Feraligator. He's also got Mega StL, Talonflame, Garchomp as well. So you see a little bit of an ice and fly weakness there, or a little ice and electric weakness. You also see things like Skarmory, not to mention Snorlax, which absorbs some of those hits for him. Steelix, Trevenant, Hitmonchan, Garbodor, Jinx, and Vivillon do round out the lineup. Now, I fully expect him to bring the full powerhouse, the top order of those Pokemon, as opposed to some of the later, lower tier mons. I don't really expect to see things like Jinx or Vivillon. Potentially, I could see it like a Trevenant or something like that, but I don't expect to see most of the other threats. So I do expect to see some of the higher tier mons like the Garchomp, like the Mega Sceptile, like your Snorlax with thick fat to absorb those ice type moves, things like that Skarmory and the Talonflame and so on and so forth. So that is what I built my team for. However, I do have checks for pretty much everything on his team, and I am ready to rock and roll. So without further ado, kicking off our lineup this week and leading the UCL in kills is, of course, the biggest threat. His name is aDrive, and he goes by Mega Metagross as well. This week, running a Jolly Nature with just enough speed to make sure we're outspeeding his Garchomp, of course, after we Mega Evolve. We've got the Ice Punch, the Thunder Punch, the Hammer Arm, and of course, the Magnet Rise making its debut this week to make sure that we're able to kind of skillfully dodge those Earthquakes from Garchomp, which otherwise makes Garchomp useless against us. Same thing for Snorlax. Body Slam does not do much to us. Snorlax typically carries Earthquake for coverage. We'll be able to outspeed without a problem. Kick up that Magnet Rise and make sure we can avoid pretty much any hit from that Snorlax. He will have the potential to paralyze us, but at least he can't touch with the Earthquake, so we'll be able to live some hits either way, and didn't really feel the need for Meteor Mash or anything like that, or Bullet Punch. I really liked Ice Punch and Thunder Punch for coverage. Hammer Arm hits that Snorlax really hard, and like I said, the Magnet Rise will give us a little bit of levitating abilities here, so we can float above our opponents and come out with the W, hopefully. The next Pokemon is very, very important this week. We're bringing a Raikou Sabertooth once again, finally getting off the Schneid last week with a couple kills, which was very nice. And this week it's bringing the air balloon, so he's gonna be floating up nice and high on his little balloon, and that's gonna be to skillfully dodge those ground type moves once again. This time it's rocking Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, HP Ice, of course, for Garchomp, and Mega Sceptile. And again, Thunder Wave, actually, for just general status. Since I'm not Assault Vested, I have the ability to run status moves in this thing, so I felt like Thunder Wave would be nice for general speed control and just kind of help out one of the other members of my team. Could be useful. So, next Pokemon we're going to be bringing after Raikou, hopefully we'll put in quite a bit of work, is going to be our Vaporeon. Now, Vaporeon does provide me a very solid physically defensive wall check and a little bit of special bulk as well, maxing out his HP, mostly defensive, carrying the Scald and the Ice Beam, general coverage there, that Ice Beam for the Garchomp, of course, Scald for generally everything else. Ice Beam obviously hits that Sceptile, so on and so forth. And we've got the Wish there and the Baton Pass in case we want to try to gain some momentum. You know, U-turn, Volt Switch, and, you know, Baton Pass is always nice momentum, so you guys know I'm going to rock that. And the Wish there to get some health over to Gross if it needs it, or maybe even Conkeldurr or something like that. So Vaporeon should be able to sponge hits. It actually matches up pretty decently. Rest Talk Snorlax might be a little bit of an issue, but then he's kind of limited with coverage. Then he's not able to really touch me that well with Rest Talk Snorlax. So he has to kind of, he can run like Curslax without Rest, without Sleep Talk. It's kind of weird. He's going to be very, very limited in options. And Vaporeon also serves a really good Feraligator coverage Pokemon, forcing him to Crunch. Now, if he brings Crunch, he can't bring both Substitute and Dragon Dance because he's going to need Ice Punch and Waterfall. It also kind of limits him from running Aqua Jet, so SD Jet Feraligator isn't going to be as big of an issue, and I have that Scald for the potential burns, as he's probably not going to run Lum. He'll probably run Sheer Force Life Orb, as typical Gators do. The next Pokemon I'm going to be bringing is Conkeldurr. Now, Conkeldurr has a good matchup this week, and I really need Conkeldurr to do work. It's going to be one of our mid to late game Pokemon, it looks like. This thing's rocking Drain Punch, Knockoff, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. Great coverage all around. Drain Punch actually does a ton to things like Skarmory, especially after they roost. It's a neutral hit, but if he roosts, I actually do a ton. I get a lot of health back. I know I can take Brave Birds from an uninvested Skarmory, so not a big deal. And obviously, we have the coverage across the board there on Conkeldurr, so should be able to do some pretty good work, and I think it's going to continue to do what it's done pretty much all season. Now you like the ground resist or the ground immunities. Hydreigon flies into the scene here, rocking a choice scarf yet again, once again, and I think Hydreigon has probably one of the better matchups this week against his team. Carrying the U-turn, the Dragon Pulse, and the Fire Blast. Fire Blast is there for Skarmory, of course, U-turn for momentum. Dragon Pulse hits pretty much everything else. The Garchomp, the Mega Sceptile have just enough speed to outspeed max speed timid Mega Sceptile by 1 point. So I know I'll outspeed the Sceptile. I'll outspeed everything. I won't outspeed a Scarf Chomp, but Scarf Chomp isn't as scary because I do have an Air Balloon user. I have a Magnet Riser. I have a Levit. So you can't get locked into Earthquake with Scarf Chomp because that just gives me free momentum with my nice Hydreigon. So it's gonna be, his Garchomp's really gonna have to play smart and if he brings it and stuff like that. And I've got Tailwind as our last move. So nice Scarf Tailwind there. Give me a boost with Metagross. Gives me a boost with Raikou. With pretty much anything, any of my powerhouses. Even you know, if I want to bring in Omastar late game, it's got pretty good special attack. And that will reveal our last Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen, is Omastar. And Omastar has only come into one match this season. It was a Shell Smashing set, and unfortunately I did a little bit of misplay and I Shell Smashed twice and I shouldn't have. But Omastar is going to be our Rock Setter this week. I wanted to get it some more action this season, and it's going to be rocking the Scald, the Ice Beam, HP Electric, kind of weird, but that keeps it so Gator doesn't wall me. And I have the Stealth Rocks there, obviously. I want to get those up. Takes away 50% of Talonflame's health right off the bat, which is very useful for me. And you know, he does have Defog on Skarmory, but if he defogs, he's getting rid of his own rocks as well. He could bring Hitmonchan as a spinner, but truthfully, if he brings Hitmonchan, then I'm a happy dude because that's one less threat that I would normally have to worry about. So I'm gonna keep this press conference nice and short. That's my team right there, guys. I hope you guys are super excited for the next week 14 of the UCL. We're heading towards the playoffs. The charge is coming, and the Rampardos are going to continue to head smash our opponents to victory. So make sure you guys hit that like button if you are digging it, and I want to thank everyone once again for supporting the Rampardos with 199 shirts sold, which is very impressive. So thank you. Keep on head smashing on. My name is Dan. I'm the coach of your St. Louis Rampardos. So I'm going to get the heck out of here, guys. I will see you tomorrow at the match. Peace.